Begin with power, pause for impakes, Muay to your voice, mellow intro, one mind. Let me ask you something. Maybe that was your old story. When was the last time you looked and asked yourself, am I building my life or am I trying to keep up with theirs? You see, we live in a world where comparison is scrolling, judging, double tapping, trying to measure their own worth by someone else's highlight reel. Here's the truthy. Real winners. They master themselves. They don't play someone else's game. They build their own arena. So today, maybe here to tell you one thing, one rule, a peak performer, every person who truly wins at life understands to focus on yourself, not others, because you are the damn standard. Let's get brutally honest for a second. You're not tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because you're doing too little of what matters and too much of watching others, and it's comparison. It's invisible, silent, and absolutely deadly. Most people don't even realize how deep runs. You wake up, grab your phone, open up. Within 60 seconds, you've already scrolled past someone on a beach, someone buying a new car, someone losing 30 pounds, someone at age 23, and someone else announcing an engagement with a caption that reads, "Living my dream with my soulmate." Maybe a decent day becomes a disappointing one. Not because anything bad happened, but because you just compared your rated moment. Let that sink in. See, comparison just steals your happiness. It steals your momentum. It grabs your focus, pulls your energy, and robs you of the one thing that could change your life, self-direction. And here's the thing. Comparison always lies. Always. You're the scenes to their highlight reel, your struggle to their sparkle. You're beginning to their chapter 20. And that's not just unfair, it's destructive. Let me give you a real example. A young woman I worked with was incredibly talented. She had a gift for design. Her ideas were brilliant. Her execution as show held back from posting her work, applying for jobs, and putting herself out there. Why? Because she kept looking at designers' own and polished portfolios. Every time she created something, she'd look at their work and feel like she scrapped it, rebuilt it, delayed sharing it. For years, her skill kept improving, but her self-belief didn't. Why? Because her value was someone else's ruler. Eventually, she took a break from social media 30 days. Just 30. And something incredible happened. She started looking in. Her creativity exploded. Her confidence returned. She began releasing her work unapologetically. Opportunities followed. Clea's changed, not because her skills improved, but because her focus did not. Flip the script. Think about Olympic athletes. Do you know what they're from, Dave?
In your lane.
Why? Because if they look sideways, even for a second, they slow down. They lose momentum. And that half-second glance could be and do nothing. That's life. Winners don't waste time looking at who's ahead. They stay locked in. And ironically, that's how they pass everyone else. It's okay to be inspired by others. It's okay to admire greatness. What's not okay is to let that admiration turn for budge. There's a difference between inspiration and comparison. Inspiration says, if they can do it, so can I. Comparison says, if they've done already behind, one builds you, the other breaks you. You want to know what real strength looks like? It's waking up every day, tuning on building my thing at my pace in AM way. It's refusing to let the algorithm define your ambition. It's creating even when you're not seen, when you're not applauded. It's showing up even when you're not celebrated. Maybe that everything is. Every great thing, because the truth is, bomb biz to legacies to bodies was built in silence. Not in the comments, not in likes, not in trends, but in quiet, focused time you catch yourself scrolling, comparing, and feeling like you're behind. I want you to remember this, songs. You're not behind. You're just earning. Still building. Still laying the foundation. And that journey, your journey, it's not being broadcast. It's more valuable because it's real. Comparison is the thief of greatness. But self-focus is the archetype. Cut the noise, unfollow the distractions, mute the drama, and double down on the most important pro and you. Because that's the one comparison that will always pay off, the one between who you were yesterday and who you are today. And if you beat that shot at, you win. Every single time. Maybe every day people walk to life with everyone else. But the goal is to be better than them, faster than them, smarter than her, richer than them. Maybe the whole story. And before they know it, they're stuck as a ghost. running after people who don't even know they're in a race with them. But let me break a truth to you once forever. Your only competition is the person in the mirror. Not your coworker, not your neighbor, not that influencer, not your high school friend who just borning. Your reflection staring back at you each morning, that's your rival. That's the only person you need to beat. That's the one holding your future. And here's everyone else is running a completely different race. You don't know their starting line. You don't know what battles they're fighting behind the scene. You don't know what sacrifices they made, what shortcuts they took, or what pain they hide behind their smile. Trying to compete with them. It's like running around a treadmill. You're sprinting like crazy and still getting nowhere. Let me give you a real life example. There's a guy named Adam, hardworking, just frustrated. He would work late, try to start a business, hit the gym, but he always felt like he was failing. Why? Because every time he opened LinkedIn in something better. One friend had launched a startup and got funded. Another bought a Tesla. Another got featured in Forbes. Adam was lifelong just from chasing ghosts. One day, he decided to run a different test. Instead of comparing himself to everyone else, he decided to only compete with, I'm better today than I was last week. Am I showing up with more clarity, more strength, consistency than before? He stopped rushing. He started improving. He didn't care who was ahead anymore because he had a new goal. Dominate the man in the mirror and the man that lives. Because when you compete with yourself, you start to win for real. You start waking up with purpose. You push a little harder at the gym. You stay a little longer on that project. You get a little sharper, a little stronger, a little more focused. And that's small. Let's talk about something practical. Take fitness, for example. The gym is a mirror, a literal one. Maybe the best athletes don't stare. I need to match that. They look their own progress. They track their reps, their sets, their results. If they lifted 150 Bs last week, the period, what the goal guy next to them is doing, because that's his game. The only question that matters is, can I outlift the guy I was yesterday? These to every area of life. In business, are you a better leader, communicator, or creator than last quarter? In relationships, are you more present, more honest, more calm than you were before? In mindset, are you calmer under pressure? Do you bounce back faster? Do you think bigger? Because the moment you shift your function, you step into a state of perpetual growth. And guess what? That's where champions are born. Do you want to know why most people more time watching others than working on themselves? But winners wake up, look in the mirror, and declare war on the version of theirs to be. They understand that progress is personal. It's not about outperforming others. It's about evolving yourself. And I'll tell you something powerful. When you team with yourself, the world will feel different. You'll stop getting jealous. You'll stop feeling behind. You'll stop chasing validation because internal. And nobody can take that away from you. Here's something to try right now. Pick one area of your life. Health, mindset, relationships, desk key in. What would the 10% better version of me do today? Would they scroll less and read more? Would they skip fast food and prep a meal with more patience? Would they stock themselves out of action? Then do that tomorrow. Ask the same question again. If you repeat that cycle for 30 days, just 30, you're unrecognizable. Because greatness is not built by being better than others. It's built by being better than you after a year. The person in the mirror is your only real competition. But here's the beautiful part of that person is also your greatest all. When he becomes stronger and they push you even further. So stop chasing their success. Start chasing your potential. Because when you make you the competition in cells, you start running towards your greatness. Maybe let's be real for a second. You don't need another podcast, another quote, another 10-step success list. What you need is focus. And what's stealing it? Distraction. The dream doesn't shout. It doesn't slam doors. It doesn't break windows. It slips in quietly, like a whisper. It shows up as a quadratic scroll. A quick break that turns into hours lost. It disguises itself as entertainment or even productivity, like rearranging you for the 5th time instead of doing the actual work. And before you know it, your potential is dying. Not from laziness, not from lack of ability, but authoractions that steal your execution. Think about this all. How many times have you sat down to work for it? Something that matters. And 5 minutes later, your hand automatically reaches for your phone. You're not even thinking about it. You decide to get distracted. You drifted. And that's the danger. Because you don't drift into greatness. Maybe you drift into average. You decide your drift kills your edge. It numbs your focus. And worst of all, it gives you the illusion that you're doing something. You're avoiding every get personal with a real life example. There's a young entrepreneur named Maya. Talented. Ambitious. She had ideas that could change the game. Sat down to build her business. She got distracted. Friends texting. Emails pinging. YouTube calling. She'd start strong in the morning, right deep into a motivational rabbit hole, watching people do the things she wanted to do. Sound familiar? One day, she decided to track her time, not just guide. And what she found shocked her. Out of an 8-hour workday, she was only truly focused for about 90 minutes. Maybe the rest was fragmented, lost to social media, answering random messages, and mentally recovering from all that noise. That was her wake-up call. She didn't lack ambition. If you can't control your attention, you'll never control your future. From that point on, she made one powerful shift. She started Cake was her most valuable asset, because it is. She began using airplane mode. She created work sprints. She blocked out distractions. And she began accomplishing what used to take her entire day. Execution skyrocketed. Her confidence returned. Why? Because distraction finally lost its grip. Now think about athletes, the great ones, LeBron, Serena, Messi. Do you think they're checking Do you think they're taking every phone during raining? No. Because they know one truth, and when you're in the zone, the world disappears. Distraction is if you let it stay. Hey, if you normalize it. You'll never get to the level you're capable of. Let's zoom in on your daily life. Every time me viewing in the middle of working, every time you switch from one task to another, your brain has to reset. Science calls it context switching. 30 hours here, 2 minutes there, but added up across a week, a month, a year. It's hours, days, years lost to nigh our goals feel stuck. We wonder why our plans never come together. It's not the idea that's broken. It's our focus that's fractured. You have the talent, but distraction is stealing the bridge between what you know and what you actually do. It's not enough to know what needs to be done. And execution only lives in the land of deep, undistracted effort. Here's the truth you need to embracing. You cannot be powerful and distracted. You change your life and keep checking your phone every 5 minutes. You can't build something legendary when you're pulled into noise. You can't reach mastery in anything while living in mental chaos. So what's the solution? You don't need to eliminate all distractions, unrealistic, but you can start by creating windows of time where your focus is sacred. Protect your mornings. Shut the doors, silence the noise, distort your dopamine, because the person who can lock in for just a day, every single day, will beat the distracted genius every time. Let that sink in. The world is noisy, but your success, it's quiet, happens in undistracted action. And the people who win in life, they don't have more hours in the day. Maybe just waste fewer of them. So here's your noise. Reclaim your attention. And treat your focus like your future depends on it. Because it does. Because at the end of the day, it's nor the most connected that win. It's the ones who execute. Maybe you can't execute if your traction is the enemy. Execution is the answer. Choose your side. Read that a gang nobody is coming to save your friends, not your partner, not your mentor, not your boss, not your favorite influencer. It's you. It's always been you. And until you forensically own that truth, you'll keep waiting for something that's never going to arrive. And in that waiting, your life will quietly pass. You see this subtle program that teaches us someone will eventually show up and hand us the key to our dream life. Maybe if we work hard enough, keep being nice. Opportunity will knock, a door will magically open. Some savior will walk in. Recognize our potential and elevate, and the longer you believe it, the longer you delay your breakthrough. Real life doesn't reward potential. It rewards action. It doesn't respond to effort. And the people who break through, the ones you admire, the ones building their dreams. They built their own damn ship. Let me give you a real world example. There's a guy named Jordan. Grew up in a tough neighborhood, not a lot of resort, minimum wage jobs, always had a dream of starting his own clothing brand. He kept saying, one day, when I find an investor, or when I find I just had a little help. But years passed and no one showed up. The world didn't deliver. And guess what? He almost gave up. Inside him clicked. He realized, if I'm the one with the vision, I've got to be the one to move first. So he stopped waiting. He took the light TT shirts, printed his own logo of the home kit, and started selling them from the trunk of his car. Was it flashy? No. Was it easy? Absolutely not. But it was his emotion. Fast forward a few years, that small, scrappy hustle became a six-figure brand, not because someone rescued him, but because that's the shift. The moment you stop expecting someone to dream and start taking radical responsibility. That's the moment your life starts to change. And don't get it twisted. And not for help. I'm not saying community doesn't matter. What I'm saying is you must move first. People help movers. People bet on action. But if you're sitting for someone to validate you before you start, you'll wait forever. Maybe you've got to become the person you've got doesn't need applause to stay committed. The one who doesn't collapse when support is missing. Because here's the truth, there will be claps for you. No one checks in. No one sees the work you're doing behind the scenes. And in those moments, you got to be your own source of motivate, your motivator, your own accountability, your own why. Think of it like this. When you were a kid learning how to walk, you didn't read books on perseverance, got up, fell, got up again. There was no waiting, no hesitation, no begging someone to help you, old saints sake. Because deep down, something in you knew and no one can walk for you. So why, now as adults, do we forget that? Why do we wait for someone to the problems? To deliver the dream? The answer is fear. Fear of failure. Fear of looking foolish. Fear of responsibility. Because when you admit that it's on you, he is to blame. But here's the trusting, that's not pressure, that's power. Because if it's on you, then you're not waiting anymore. You're not a pro. Your dream doesn't need evil. Your goals don't require consensus. Your healing, your growth, your success, they all begin the moment and I'll be honest, it's not always glamorous. Sometimes it means grinding in silence. Sometimes it means eating alone, learning. It means walking a path that no one else understands. But in that solitude, something incredible happens. Because when you stop Nevier, you become unshakable. You build confidence not from comfort, but from evidence. From proving to yourself, day after day, that you can show up, that you will figure it out, quit. Yeah. That's how leaders are born. That's how legacies are built. Not by waiting, but by walking. So let this be your wake-up call. Nobody your rescue. No one is handing you the dream. No one is going to drag you to success. And thank God for that. Because that means you another second. You can start right now, right where you are, with what you have. Even if it's not perfect. Even if you're scared. Even if you fear one. Because truth is, you're not powerless. You're not stuck. You're just waiting. And the only things in the life you want is you finally deciding to take full ownership of it. No more excuses. No more hoping. No more waiting. Be your own rescue miss coming. And that's the greatest gift you'll ever receive. There's this myth floating around of their game are just naturally gifted, that they were born with some superhuman skill set or were simply more talented than everyone else. And while talent might give you honest with you, it's not talent that builds greatness. It's obsession is the engine. The fire, the thing that makes someone go the extra mile when everyone else clocks out. Talent might open the door, but obsession is what walks you through it, slams it shut, and owns the room. When you're obsessed, you don't need to push yourself. You don't wait for motivation. You move without it. You don't count the hours. You make you an example that will hit home. There were 2 college students in a design program. One of them, Alex, was insanely talented. Everyone saw he wasn't sitting out in minutes that looked like it belonged in a magazine. But Alex had one problem: he wasn't hungry. He believed his talent would carry him, so he up late, slacked on projects, delivered great work, but only when it was convenient. Then there was Marcus, not as naturally gifted. His ideas weren't clean at first. But Marcus had something Alex didn't, an obsession with getting better. While Alex partied, Marcus stayed up late watching tutorials, reads specs he'd already finished, asking for feedback, reading, learning, failing, fixing, and repeating the process. He didn't care how talented anyone else was, how much better he could get. Fast forward 3 years, guess who was running his own design agency, landing clients globally, and mentoring others? Marcus and Alex weigh his portfolio. A talent without obsession is wasted potential. Obsession without talent is undeniable momentum. Let's make this real in your life. Yeah, others are more naturally skilled, more connected, more experienced. Good. That's your edge. Maybe that was the moment you accept that, realize you can outwork, outlearn, and outlist everyone who's relying on their natural ability. Obsession isn't something you're born with, decide on. It's when you stop dabbling and start diving. It's when the thing you want becomes non-negotiable. Not, I hope I make it one day, but I'll try. And it's not about being dramatic. It's about being committed. Look at athletes like Kobe Bryant. What made him legendary wasn't talent. It was the 4 a.m. workouts, the relentless film study, the obsession with every detail of the game made him outshine players who were just as talented more. If your own world obsession looks like this, you want to write. You're writing every no one reads it yet. You want to build a business. You're learning every part of it, not just the fun parts. You want to get in shape. You're in the gym when you're tired when no one's watching. You want to grow mentally. You're reading, reflecting, journaling, investing in your mind, even when, because here's what most people miss: obsessionist and unhealthy. Stagnation is, mediocrity is, settling is, pretending you're okay with less than what capable of. That's what eats your soul alive. So many people are stuck in. They almost start the book. Maybe that was your old story. They ate the brand. They almost launched the brunch. But they stop when it gets inconvenient. And that's the difference. The obsessed keep going. They keep swinging. They bleed for the vision, not because it's who they are. And let me be crystal clear. Being obsessed doesn't mean burning out. It means tuning in. Tuning in so deeply to your purpose that you don't get distracted by opinions. That you stop comparing because you're too busy becoming. If people don't understand your intensity too much, good. If they don't get your focus, your drive, your dedication, that's a sign your people won't. You weren't built for average. You weren't made to fit in. You weren't born to dabble to hope or to wonder what if. You were born to take whatever you have, however small, multiply it through consistency, hunger, and unshakable belief. So don't envy the talented, outlist them. Let your obsession speak louder than your resume. Let your effort echo longer than your excuses. And watch what happens when you today. Talent may get attention, but obsession builds empires. There's a powerful truth in life, and once you really understand it, it changes everything. Energy goes where attention flows. Whatever you focus on, that was your old story, you feel. Whatever you obsess over, you build, you give your attention to, you're giving your power to. And the problem isn't that people don't have enough energy. The problem is they're wasting it on leaking it, drain it, scattering it across distractions, drama, overthinking, comparing, gossiping, scrolling, doubting, and reacting, and insecure, grow, and execute. Let's break it down with a simple analogy. Imagine your energy is like sunlight. It's warm, it's bright, and it's spread across this tape, that same light, and you focus it through a magnifying glass. What happens? It burns. That focused energy becomes a laser. It creates fire. That's what happens in your life when you start controlling your attention. You stop being kind of 10-minute freak till you start getting dangerously dialed into one thing: your growth, your business, your healing, your health, your purpose, and suddenly everything, because your circumstances shifted, not because someone saved you, because you stopped leaking in and pouring it into your mission. Let's make this practical with a real life example. There's a woman named Priya. She wanted to launch a coaching business, even the patch framework, but her life felt like a whirlwind. Every day she was dealing with family drama, overthinking whether she was good, other self to others on Instagram, going down YouTube rabbit holes of never actually starting. Sound familiar? She was busy but not effective. Her energy was everywhere. Except for a day, she made a decision that changed everything. She unplugged from the noise. She deleted Instagram for 30 days. She stopped gossiping. She stopped trying to tool out. Instead, she woke up every morning and said, where does my energy need to go today to move her attention where her every day, consistently? In 6 months, coaching business wasn't just to revive. because she had more talent, not because she suddenly became lucky, but because she redirected her focus and her energy followed. And her Reggie, always about doing more. Sometimes it's about doing less with greater focus, greater clarity, and great ask your intention. Let me know going today. Is it going into worrying about things you can't control? Is it going into stalking people? Maybe is it going into replaying mistakes or scrolling endlessly or trying to please people who don't even matter? Because if it is, no wonder you're tired or stuck. You're not lazy. You're just misfocused. We live in a world that profits from your distraction. The algorithm wants your attention. Mere toxic people want your reaction. And if you don't protect your focus, maybe that's your old story, you'll end up fueling everything but your most successful people. The ones building empires, breaking records, changing lives, aren't better than you jewels with their attention. They say no to distractions. They say yes to what matters. They pour their energy into things that guide. Not a secret. It's a discipline. And it starts with a question you need to ask yourself every day. Maybe is what I'm focusing on helping me, or has your energy is precious? It's currency, and every time you give it away to the broken away, no bank can measure. This is why successful athletes protect their routines. Why elite performers have morning ritual out their calendars for deep work. They understand this law: where attention goes, results grow. And the opposite is also true. You feel more problems. You focus on fear. You feel more fear. You focus on your past. You relive it. But you focus on solutions. You find them. You focus on your growth. You focus on your mission. You build something unstoppable. So today, take back control. Audit your focus. What's stealing? What's draining it? When you're feeling your thoughts, your time, your emotion. Because if you don't decide where you're, decide for you. And you'll wake up a year from now exhausted, confused, and wondering why nothing's changed. Does every day. Busy doesn't build dreams. Focused energy does. So shift it, reclaim it. And remember this, maybe your life is a reflection of what you soak up. If you want more clarity, more results, more peace, more power, it starts by taking your attention off what drains you and put it on what drives you. Because where tension flows and where your energy flows, your life grows. Maybe that was your old story. Confidence isn't something you build. And here's the truth most people are avoiding. You can't build confidence by watching other people's lives. You can't scroll your way into confidence. You can't binge success stories and magically feel worthy. You can't sit on the sidelines analyzing and expect to wake up powerful. Confidence doesn't come from consumption. Confidence comes from execution. But we live in a world that's made it eat back and watch other people do the very things we say we want to do. We follow people who are building businesses, writing books, traveling the word, trusting their goals, and we convince ourselves that watching them will somehow help us. It doesn't, because every second you spend watching you're not building yourself. Think about it. You want to start a brand. You spend hours watching YouTube build theirs. You want to get fit. You follow influencers who already look like athletes. You want to speak on stages. You obsess over motivational clips. At the short term, it feels like progress. You're learning, right? But let's be honest. Most of the time, you're avoiding. You're replacing action with admiration. You're feeding on borrowed inspiration for you to face your own blank canvas. And while you're stuck watching, doubting, and comparing someone with less talent, less experience, less knowledge is outside perfect, imperfect, but doing it. And with every rep, they build something you can't get from a screen, real confidence. Because real confidence doesn't come when it win. It comes from proving to yourself that you can do hard things. It comes from the ugly first draft, the awkward first workout, the shaky, uncomfortable first video, the failed attempt that teaches you more than any tutorial ever could. Confidence is built in the doing, in the dishing up, in the failing forward. And the longer you wait to start, maybe the longer you delay the version waiting on the other side of action. Let me give you a real world example. There's a guy named Rafik. He wanted to be a content creator. He had a deep desire to share his story. But for over a year, he just watched others, comparing his voice to theirs, his style to theirs, his follow-throughs, researching. But deep down, he was scared to be seen, scared to be judged, scared to fall short. One day, someone asked him a simple question: how many videos have you posted? His answer: None yet? I'm waiting to get it right. And that was the moment helping wasn't helping. It was hurting. It was delaying his growth. It was feeding his insecurity. So he made a decision to post one video a day no matter what. And you know what happened. The first few videos were awkward. The lighting was off. The delivery was shaky. Hardly anyone watched. But day after day, his voice got stronger. His ideas got clearer. His confidence didn't come from compliments. 30 days later, he wasn't the same person. Not because he had made it, but because he had moved. He stopped watching, and he stopped it. Confidence is a byproduct of courage, and courage is in the absence of fear. It's the decision to act despite it. You want confidence? Get in the game. Stop watching. Start working. Stop analyzing their highlight reel and start building your own. Confidence is built when you prove to you you're not just a dreamer, you're a doer, not someone who just talks about it, someone who lives it. Even when it's hard, even when no one sees you, even when every time you show up, your identity shifts. You're no longer the person who's tries, you does. And I'll tell you this, it doesn't take long. You don't need years. You don't need perfection. You need a pad of small, consistent, intentional actions that prove to your brain, I can trust myself. Confidence is built on integrity to self. Did you say you'd do it? Did you follow through? That's where it lies. You want to stop doubting yourself. Stop saying tomorrow and start saying now, because no one gets strong by watching someone else lift weights. You get strong by picking up the weight yourself. So whatever it is you've been waiting to do, I've been calling your name while you watch others live it. Now is the time to stop watching and start building. Because you can't build confidence by watching it when you choose to believe in your own potential more than your own fear. And that starts right now. Not perfectly, powerfully. Let's get one thing straight. That influencer with 500K followers. It's not the person in your class who always seems to have the answers. It's not your colleague who just got entrepreneur crushing it online. Your real competition is the person you were yesterday. It's the one staring back at you in the mirror. And if you start competing with that person, you'll stay stuck chasing people who don't even know you exist, while completely ignoring the repeat change your life you. In a world where comparison is easy as unlocking your phone, we've forgotten how to measure growth internally. We're so obsessed with how someone else is doing, what someone else has achieved, where someone else is in their journey of the only question that counts, am I better than I was yesterday? Because that actually matters, and that race never ends. But here's the beauty in that race. You're not trying to destroy anyone yourself. Think about it. Imagine if every single day you woke up and just focused on beating. If yesterday you did 10 push-ups, today you do 11. If yesterday you spent an hour scrolling, today you replace it with reading. If you had it for 3 hours, today you cut it to 2. If yesterday you let self-doubt win, today you take one bold step forward. That kernel competition compounds fast. And no, it's not flashy. No one claps for it. Doesn't go viral. But over time, that discipline turns into power. That both internal race turns into external transformation. Let me tell you a story to bring this home. There was a guy named Aaron. Super average connections, not particularly talented by society's standards, but Aaron had one rule every day. He would just be 1% better than the day before. That was it. He wasn't chasing people online. He wasn't copying anyone's formula. He didn't care what others were doing. He tracked himself. He started on 2% more reps, 1 for effort. Then he moved to his business, 1% better offers, percent cleaner branding, 1% more outreach. Then he applied it to his mindset. Percent more teaming, less complaining, percent more awareness. People didn't notice it at first. But 6 months in, they started asking, what happened to you? A year later, his life looked recognizable. Not because he had superpowers, because he mastered the only race that man in the mirror. You see, that's where the real winners live. Maybe they're not chasing the spotlight. They compete for growth. It's easy to get lost in the highlight reels, easy to think you're behind, easy to feel like you'll never catch up. But what if you stop trying to catch up and start leveling up on your own terms? Because here's what most people don't understand. You can't someone else's. You can't win's race, right? You won't feel you'll always feel like it's missing. Feel like imposter. Why? because you didn't run your own race. You KO else's game, and even if you win, it's still theirs. The only way to feel fulfilled, the only way to build true, bulletproof confidence is to look in the mirror every day. Let's be today. Let's be smarter. Let's be kinder. Let's be more disciplined. More busy as you.
That's the
battle.
That's it.
That's the focus. And guess what? That battle never ends. But it always will. Victory in that fight adds up. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, action over procrastination, self-respect over self-sabotage, but no one sees, but you feel. And the more you feel them, the more unstoppable you become. So stop wasting energy worrying about. Stop measuring your progress against someone else's timeline. Stop doubting your journey because some look sheenier. That's their mirror. It's not yours. Turn inward. Look yourself in the eye. Ask the question, what would it take for me to beat you today? When go do that. With fire, with focus, with full ownership. Because every day you step into that arena, you grow. You evolve. You sharpen the edge. And one realizing it, the world will look at you and say, damn, when did you become that person? And you'll smile because you'll know it wasn't over energy. It wasn't luck. It one quiet battle at a time you was you. And you showed up and you won again and again.